So, in the world of AI, there's this huge, high-stakes war heating up. But here's the thing. The real battle, it's not being fought where you think it is. For the last couple of years, this has been the question on everyone's mind, right? We've all been completely obsessed with benchmark scores, who's topping the leaderboards, and, who has the absolute smartest, biggest model.
Okay, but what if I told you that's completely the wrong question to be asking now? Seriously, the entire battlefield is shifting, like right under our feet. And the old rules, they just don't apply anymore.
Yeah, we're moving way beyond just building smarter and smarter models. The game has totally changed, and believe me, the prize is a whole lot bigger than just getting the top score on some leaderboard. So think about it like this. The first wave of this whole AI revolution, it was all about getting a single, correct one-off answer. But the second wave, the one that's happening right now, it's all about practical, sustained work. We're talking endurance, we're talking reliability. It's about getting an AI to complete these really complex tasks that take hours, not just a few seconds. So what we value as success has just completely flipped. We're moving away from a world that was all about those benchmark scores, and now we're in a world that values uptime and safety. We're going from one-off answers to actually managing long sessions. It's a huge shift from just, theoretical intelligence to real-world industrial strength AI. And on this new battlefield, what we're seeing is basically a high-stakes game of chess playing out between three huge players. So let's break down exactly what they're doing, move by move.
Okay, first up, OpenAI. Their big move right now isn't just about making a better model. Nope. It's about everything they're wrapping around the model. They're basically trying to create the one standard operating environment for every single AI agent out there.
And you don't have to take my word for it. Just listen to what OpenAI is saying themselves. They're telling us flat out, the model alone is not enough. The real focus now is on the system, the infrastructure, the stuff that lets an agent actually do work, not just, talk about doing work.
And this system, it's really all about standardizing the boring but absolutely essential stuff. Think of it like the plumbing. We're talking about things like native sandboxing, which is just a safe, isolated little playground for the agent to run code without blowing up your computer, or session memory and persistence, so it doesn't get halfway through a huge task and just forget what it was doing, and even snapshotting, which is just the ability to save its progress on a really long job and pick it back up later. See, they're building the fundamental plumbing that you need to get real work done.
All right, so that's OpenAI. Now for our second player, GitHub. They're tackling the exact same problem, but from a totally different and, honestly, just as powerful angle: remote control.
Okay, now you're going to want to pay close attention here because this is a massive conceptual shift. What GitHub is doing is turning the command line, your local terminal, into a persistent asset. It's not just this thing that lives on your machine anymore. It's a living, breathing session that you can monitor and direct from literally anywhere in the world.
I mean, just think about what that means for a second. You could kick off some super complex coding task, walk away from your desk, and approve a critical permission from your phone. You can check in on its plan, tweak it, and give it new instructions on the fly. This is huge because it dramatically lowers the cost of human supervision, which, let's be honest, has been a major bottleneck holding agents back.
Okay, so we've got OpenAI building the runtime and GitHub building the control panel, and that brings us to our third player, Anthropic. And they're making a massive bet on the most fundamental layer of all, just raw, unadulterated power.
Get this, 3.5 gigawatts. That is the estimated scale of compute access that Anthropic has locked down in deals with Google and Broadcom. To put that into perspective for you, that's enough juice to power a very large city. And no, this isn't just about training bigger models.
That number matters a lot. Here's why. As these agents start taking on tasks that last for hours or even days, the biggest point of failure isn't going to be a wrong answer. It's going to be the session just dying because the compute isn't there. So Anthropic is making this huge strategic bet. They're betting that the ultimate competitive advantage isn't the smartest model, but the most reliable power grid for that model. They're literally positioning themselves as the utility company for AI agents. It makes perfect sense, right? Because the best agent in the world is totally useless if it can't actually finish the job.
So when you put all of these moves together, you've got OpenAI's standard harness, GitHub's remote control, and Anthropic's massive compute guarantee. One single, very clear picture starts to emerge. The real prize here, it's not the model. It's the agent operating system. And this Agent OS, it's kind of like the invisible layer that handles everything except the model's brain. It manages the entire workflow of a task, starting a session, accessing files, using tools, handling all the permissions, and yeah, even figuring out the billing for the work.
And you know what? This whole fight for the operating system, it's not new at all. In fact, if you just look back at the last two huge tech revolutions, you see the exact same pattern play out.
Think about it. In the PC era, right? Intel made these incredible CPUs, the engines. But who captured the value? Microsoft, with Windows, the OS. Then the mobile era, we had all these amazing chips, but who won? Apple and Google with iOS and Android, the operating systems. And so here we are today. We have these amazing models. They're the new engines. And the next great battle, it's for the Agent OS that's going to run them. So look, this is a really fascinating strategic game to watch, for sure. But why does it matter to you? How does all of this change the way you and I should be thinking about and building with AI?
Well, for one, the new ways to compete, the new moats, they're not model benchmarks anymore. Now it's all about stuff like runtime defaults. How quickly can an agent just start working without a ton of setup? It's about the control plane. Who gives you the best dashboard to supervise and direct all the work? And of course, compute stability. Can you actually trust this thing to run for 8 hours straight without crashing? These are the new questions we all need to be asking. And all this leads to a completely new playbook for us. First thing, you've got to stop thinking in single prompts. Start designing for entire sessions, entire workflows. Second, get really good at remote supervision. Your role is shifting from being the person doing the work to the person directing the agent that does the work. And finally, when you build your own stuff, prioritize your own OS, that runtime and control plane that glues everything you're doing together.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. As this whole landscape shifts from just raw intelligence to sustained, real-world execution, the ultimate question you have to ask yourself is this: are you just building a faster engine, or are you building the operating system that's going to run the world?